Hello, Cleveland, and welcome back to another post-game edition of the DawgLand podcast. And once again, it is a victory pod. The Cleveland Browns went up against the Pittsburgh Steelers and come away with a win. 29-17 is the final score. The Browns are now 2-1 on the season, 1-0 in the AFC North. I am Jax McCurry, your host, and joining me as always is my co-host Anthony Jokey. Anthony, it's another victory pod, baby. We did it again.
Oh yeah, it's always good, and it's always extra special when you beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, for it to be a victory pod along side beating Pittsburgh, it's definitely a good day.
Yeah, absolutely. And that final touchdown on the last play was just icing on the cake. I think it was a little nervous for us those last couple of minutes, but to see Pittsburgh screw up that final what they call the Stanford band play, and it results in a Denzel Ward touchdown, it was just icing on the cake for this win.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, thank God there wasn't another meltdown like there was on Sunday. So they closed this one out. Only gave up 3 points in the second half against Pittsburgh and that offense. So uh, huge credit is due there. They certainly stepped up and answered the bell tonight after a very tough loss on Sunday.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and start with the defense. Because there's a lot of scrutiny after last Sunday's loss to the Jets. And the first half, it just did not look like things had gotten better. It didn't look like the players only meeting helped. It looked at times that there was still some miscommunication out there. I think a couple times they had 12 men on the field. I think 3 times overall tonight they had that. One was the special teams, but the defense struggled in the first half, Anthony. But second half, like you said, they whatever adjustments they made. Granted, Pittsburgh did have some chunk plays, but at the end of the day, 3 points allowed in the second half. That's a big, big adjustment for this defense that had given up a lot of points in the fourth quarter, the first 2 games against Carolina and the New York Jets. But yeah, they found a way to make plays when it mattered, despite all the injuries that happened as well. And they came away with the W, and that's the most important thing at the end of the day.
Yeah, this the defense in the second half. Pittsburgh got the ball to start the second half. They ran 10 plays, went 38 yards, ended up punting. Then the next 3 possessions, they went 3 and out. Uh, Pittsburgh then got a field goal on that possession, and then their last drive there was the fumble touchdown at the end that the Browns got. So kudos to the defense. There were some injuries tonight on the defense, which forced some other guys to play that don't normally do. But everybody stepped up in a big way, and we're able to lock it down tonight. And for the defense and everybody that's faced tremendous scrutiny over the last 3 days after what happened in those final 2 minutes against New York, for them to come out and do that tonight shows a lot of promise, I think, for the rest of the season. That way they were able to bounce back tonight.
Yeah, you would certainly hope so. I mean, it was coming in, no Jadeveon Clowney. They lost Chase Winovich too. He's on the IR for the next 4 weeks at least. And then during the game, JOK goes down with we thought was a groin injury, but the Browns listed it as a quad injury, so that's obviously something to keep an eye on. Taven Bryan pulled a hamstrings, and he left the game in the third quarter. And then I think was the biggest blow to the defense. Anthony Walker goes down with a leg injury, got put at air cast. It was a dirty play, first of all. Chukuma Okafor, the right tackle for the Steelers, not only like jumped on him, but also I think it's the right guard ended up stepping on his lower leg. So we don't know the exact injuries. One of the pro football docs that you see on social media mentioned something about a potential quad tendon rupture. I'm sure we'll get the full details tomorrow on Friday. But definitely a tough blow. Anthony Walker, one of the defensive captains, has really elevated his game. Coming back on another 1-year deal, was Pro Football Focus's #2 linebacker. But both of our starting linebackers go down, Anthony, and those were tough injuries. But Jacob Phillips, Sione Takitaki, Tony Fields, those guys stepped up and played really well in the second half, and they were a big part of why the Browns were able to shut down the Pittsburgh offense in that second half.
Yeah, Jacob Phillips came in. He had that really nice pass defense. I want to say it was on like a third down against Fryermuth, where he tipped the ball away in coverage. Fields was out there flying around. He's really fast with some of the things that he could do. So it's huge when you have guys, and David Bryant went out too. So uh, they had injuries at both their D line and linebacker levels, and they stepped up in the second half after they were able to, shore up the defense. So, when it's always next man up, and thank goodness that those guys were able to come in, do their jobs very well, and really helped out the defense.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully Walker's injury isn't severe, but seeing guys like Phillips who had struggled the first couple weeks step up, seeing guys like Fields step in and contribute, um, it was good. It just shows the great depth that we have on this team. It's gonna be tough to replace Anthony Walker, just what he brings on the field, but off the field as a leader. It's gonna be tough, and if JOK has to miss some extended time, that's gonna hurt as well. But you mentioned Tony Fields' defense; they were calling him JOK light coming out of the draft, and you seen that speed being utilized finally at the linebacker position. We saw it in preseason, but to see it in a big time game like this on Thursday Night Football was definitely a sight to see. Um, just one more thing on the defense, and then we'll go to the main focus, which was the offense. But Denzel Ward had a rough go, and this is at 2 weeks in a row now. He's had a rough go. Hopefully this isn't just like a this is just a bump in the road, and Denzel gets back to that Pro Bowl, All Pro level. We know he can, but he had a tough time with Deontay Johnson. Not selling Deontay Johnson short, but Ward struggled big time. Obviously, he gets the touchdown at the end of the game, but it's not as a cause for concern. I would say that Denzel has struggled the last couple of weeks. Hopefully, the outside noise isn't getting to him. Hopefully, he just keeps his head down and keeps working because we know how great he is. But definitely not good seeing him struggle out there tonight.
No, not at all. But I have all the faith in the world that he'll come back and be, the player that he is, and he just signed that big contract for. So, uh, you know, he does have, uh, very good skills, and a couple of times with Deontay, uh, Deontay did beat him, but thankfully the pass was incomplete. The one went right through Deontay's hands on that one down the sideline, where Denzel got pretty lucky that it did. Uh, but I think Denzel will bounce back. He has, well, much like the rest of the team, 10 days here to shore up some things, and hopefully the communication over the next 10 days or so uh, can get shored up even more. You could see it on the field, and Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit pointed it out on the broadcast, just how the defense was huddling up there and really communicating very well. So hopefully they all can continue to build on that, and Denzel Ward uh, is able to here very soon, go back to that Pro Bowl level that he's certainly capable of.
Without a doubt. I thought the rest of the secondary played well. Just love seeing Martin Emerson's physicality, but yeah, they got
Oh yeah, and he almost had an interception too. Like that would have been one of the
oh
greatest interceptions that I've seen. He was about 2 inches away from picking that off. That would have been tremendous if he had that one.
yeah, that was amazing. He's been playing great the first few weeks. Very impressed with what he's been able to do. For a third round pick where we didn't know how much he was going to play. He certainly played a big role tonight in that physicality against Claypool, and Deontay Johnson and George Pickens. It's a good sight to see, and hopefully it's just the beginning of what looks to be a promising career for him for sure. You know, Anthony, let's turn our attention to the offense because this was the main story of the Browns again for the third week in a row. This offense played so well, and it all starts with Jacoby Brissett. That dude, Anthony, I gotta say, I don't know. We had our expectations low for what he was going to be, being the Browns starting quarterback with Deshaun Watson out with the suspension, but Jacoby has been great the first 3 weeks. I know, like Carolina, he struggled a little bit, but in key elements of the game, he found a way to get the Browns in position to score. Last week he played great against the Jets, and then he backed it up again tonight with another stellar performance. 21 to 31 for 220 yards, 2 touchdown passes, and then Anthony, I might be able. I A lot of people are saying it, but I'll say it too. He might be the greatest QB sneak quarterback in NFL history. That dude, is third and short, fourth and short. You need those inches to a yard. Jacoby gets it. It's like automatic. I think he's only had one time where he didn't convert in his NFL career. But Jacoby was phenomenal tonight. He's the catalyst on this offense. You could see um, the emotion, the fire in him. He's been great. I don't know how long this can keep up, but Jacoby's been playing lights out. I know the analytics say he's been playing top 7 QB right now, and I wouldn't be shocked if he even goes further up the list after the performance he had tonight against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he doesn't turn the ball over. I didn't know he has the capability to put that kind of zip on the football. That kind of surprised me tonight with some of the way he was throwing some of those passes, like that last one to Cooper that Cooper dropped. That was certainly on the money. And went through Cooper's hands. But the throw he made on the slant in the first half that went for the touchdown to Cooper, and then the throw that he made to Njoku in the end zone, that where Njoku had to high point it. Both of those throws were right on the money, right in stride, and he couldn't put them in a better spot. So he is playing really well. He doesn't really turn the ball over. I know he had the interception against the Jets there at the end of the game, but he does a great job taking care of the football. He has shown he's able to be mobile a little bit when it's necessary. And then you talked about the quarterback sneaks. He has a big body, big frame, and when you have an offensive line in front of him, like the Browns have, those can get pretty easy. And he had a few of them there tonight where he just QB sneaked it, and I saw. Or heard Michaels he said he's like 30 of 31 in his career on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. That's pretty impressive when you're able to have that kind of conversion rate. So uh, he's done a fantastic job over these first 3 games. He's certainly proving um, that he's capable to hold the position down for a while. And if he keeps playing like this, Jack, he's going to get a nice size contract from another team after this season. When he's a free agent. So he certainly played lights out, and I think he'll only continue to get better in this offense.
Yeah, for sure. He just seems to be so much more comfortable each passing week, each passing rep that he gets. We'll see how it goes in the coming weeks when the competition gets tougher, but he has been great. I have no qualms about what he has done so far because he's been everything and then some when it comes to being the Browns quarterback. And like he looks at himself as he's not the placeholder. Like he looks at himself as the guy. And it's gonna be funny if the Browns keep winning. What this fan base will be like if the Browns keep winning and he keeps having success, because we know that people that'll be like, keep playing Brissett, and he's making it tough for him to take him off the field, but we know that Sean Watson's very talented and they invested a lot to get him. But Jacoby just keeps doing his thing and is acting like a QB1, like you said. Some team will come calling in free agency for him to give him a nice contract to be a starting quarterback in this league, and he's earned it. The first 3 weeks he's been great. Like you said, I think he's going to continue to get better, especially with the pieces around him. And we could talk about the running game, but let's talk about them receivers tonight. Amari Cooper and David Njoku were phenomenal. Combined, they went 16 catches for 190 yards, and they each put a touchdown on the board. Cooper, 2 weeks in a row now, over 100 yards and a touchdown. The first time a Browns wide receiver has done that in back-to-back games since Josh Gordon in 2013, which is amazing considering some of the other receivers we've had with the Browns. And then Njoku was phenomenal. He was catching everything in sight except the contested catch at the goal line. I think it was in the third quarter, but Njoku was phenomenal, finally paying off to see, he's earned that contract with the performance he did tonight. Hopefully, this is just the start of things because Anthony, we've talked about it since the podcast started 5 years ago. We all seen the talent in Njoku. It was just a matter of getting him the targets and him putting it all together. And it looks like, even though it's just one game, that he's finally starting to put things together. And it seems like Brissett definitely trusts throwing the ball to him.
Yeah, both Cooper and Njoku both. I think a lot of this has to do as well with just the familiarity that's being built between quarterback and receivers now. Brissett didn't play much in the preseason, as a lot of the Browns didn't. So now that these reps have been continuous, getting more familiar has certainly helped. Um, one thing we noticed with Stefanski even before this year is the way he's able to scheme to get guys open, and I think now the quarterback is able to find the guys that are wide open, and throw it where the ball is supposed to go, with accuracy. And you're seeing the likes of Cooper and Njoku capitalizing off of that. Um, Obviously, both these guys had a really good game tonight, and I think as the season goes along, you know, if these guys continue to have huge games like Cooper and Njoku, that's going to take all the focus on them, and will allow the likes of Peoples Jones and David Bell and Brian as well to get open and have an opportunity to catch the football. So um, I'm glad that Njoku caught 9 of 10 passes, um, almost having a perfect day there. There's always been that big question. So he certainly put in the work. Had a great game tonight. So did Amari Cooper, and I don't think you could have asked anything more from those two tonight, except maybe Cooper catching that ball at the end there. That probably would have been a touchdown. So, it was just a great night for both of these pass catchers.
Yeah, for sure. When you have Jacoby, who's on point with his accuracy, um, just getting the ball to his top playmakers. I mean, that's the recipe for success. When you're running the ball well and you're getting the ball to your top targets, your top playmakers, and they're cashing in and making big plays. I mean, that's the formula for success offensively. I mean, we've seen it work with other teams, and now we're starting to see it with the Browns. We just hope it continues and it's consistent because that bodes well. I mean, the Browns have scored over 20 points, over 25 points in all 3 games. So this bodes well for things moving forward with the Browns offensively if they keep this up. Just if the defense can start to get things together, this team can be dangerous. We know the talent on the defensive side. They just got to get things together. But the offense has been a big surprise so far through 3 games, and hopefully it continues. You'd be remiss if we did not talk about the running game because they are on a phenomenal start. I think they were coming in, they were already over 400 yards, and they added another 171 on the ground. Nick Chubb with over 100 yards again, 113 to be exact, with a touchdown. Kareem Hunt added 47 on the ground, and we mentioned Brissett with his QB sneaks. He had 3 carries for 11 yards. So, Anthony, they are right now, I'm going to look this up and do the math real quick. They're at 578 yards for the first 3 games, which I don't know what the record is. I know Chubb's got the most rushing yards for 3 games by a Browns back since Jim Brown back in the 60s. So Nick Chubb's off to a great start, but the running attack as a whole has been phenomenal so far for the first 3 games.
And how ridiculous is that stat where Jim Brown ran for 489 yards in 3 games? That's 163 per game.
I know.
That's just absolutely insane.
Right.
But this, these 2 backs are so good. And was it nice having a full offensive line out there with Jack Conklin back tonight?
Yeah.
Obviously, that was a big help. Now having him back, I expect the running game to be even better. I don't know how much better it can get because it's been really solid through these first 3 games. So, the Browns are just able to bludgeon opposing defensive fronts with the guys that they have up front, and then these 2 running backs that are just like bowling balls that will go through anything that is thrown at them. There were a few plays there where Chubb was just bouncing off of guys and they were trying to tackle him and he just won't go down. So when you have two running backs that are that strong, um, it bodes very well for your team. And these two guys, I kind of hope they keep Hunt, but if they don't, uh, I understand it. But these two guys complement each other so well in everything that they do, and you just can't ask any more from these two guys through these first three games of the season.
No, it's been phenomenal. Chubb's at 341 for the first 3 games, and he also entered the top 5 for Browns franchise history for rushing yards. He passed Kevin Mack tonight. The next man up is Greg Pruitt, who's at 5,496. Chubb is at 5,157 after tonight. So, and he hit 40 touchdowns, which puts him, he's still 6 all time, but Otto Graham's 4 away. So Chubb is climbing the rushing franchise marks. And he keeps this up, I don't know how long he'll be here, but if he somehow gets within striking distance of Jim Brown, it would be phenomenal. But he's already off to a fantastic start. You've seen the graphics tonight. He's averaging over 5 yards per carry, 4 straight seasons with at least 150 carries. He's the only back in NFL history to do that. So Chubb is well on his way to a Hall of Fame career. And it's fortunate that we have not only him, but Kareem Hunt. And if they ever sprinkle in Dearness Johnson or Jerome Ford in the running game, I just think it would make it even stronger.
Oh, absolutely! Adding in a third back there who can bring a different change of pace, and both those guys can catch passes out of the backfield too. So um, they've done so well, over these first few games. I love the different alignments that they put them in. Having Michael Dunn lining up at fullback, or the one short yardage play where they motioned Kareem Hunt into the fullback position. They scored a touchdown in week 1 like that, where they lined up Hunt in the full as a fullback and ran play action to throw it to him. Um, but some of the things that they can do with these two guys is just not fair to opposing defenses, and that they're so talented um, that they're able to do just about everything. So you know, you add more guys into the mix like Ford and Dearness Johnson, that's all the better. We'll see if we see that as the season goes along, because there's always injuries, guys get banged up. A guy who is carrying the ball a lot and maybe is a little tired. Those two guys are good backs as well. So anytime you're able to sprinkle them in, it'll certainly give a little boost.
Yeah, for sure. And while we're throwing praise at the entire offense, you mentioned the offensive line, but Jack Conklin was back out there tonight. Jedrick Wills gave us all a scare when he got rolled up on, but he came back out and played the rest of the game. This offensive line was phenomenal tonight, giving Brissett protection. It was the lowest pressure rate that he's had in his career tonight. He was the only pressure, I think, 12% of his dropbacks, which was phenomenal because with the Colts, he always had a rough time. And this year so far has been the best protection he's had by far. But Anthony, they were taking alignments during the game where Michael Dunn was out there as an additional lineman. They threw out Froholt as even an extra lineman. They had 7 on the one goal line play where Nick Chubb punched it in for the touchdown. So, and you mentioned Michael Dunn was even lining up as fullback at times. So this offensive line was phenomenal. They've been phenomenal the last few years since Stefanski and Bill Callahan arrived. All in all, it was just a great night for the Browns offense, from the offensive line to the backs to the receivers to Jacoby Brissett. It was darn near a perfect night for this offense.
Yeah, and they, I think, escaped a big blow where the one play Jedrick Wills got his legs rolled up on. He missed a couple plays, but was able to come back in. I think they, escaped a big injury there, and they got lucky. So, offense came out relatively healthy. I know there's some injuries on the defensive side. Hopefully, some of those guys can get healthy and be ready for Atlanta. But I'm not. I don't think Anthony Walker will be, just the way it looks. So, um, let's get rested up. You got 10 days before Atlanta. shore things up, improve the communication a little bit more, and hopefully we could move to 3-1 on the year.
Yeah, without a doubt. And can I just say, for the record, to all the Browns fans that wanted Kevin Stefanski to give up play calling, stop it. No more discussion about that ever. This dude, he has so much control of that offense. He's one of the best play callers in the league. You can question the decision making he makes as a head coach, and that's fine. But do not take away the strength to what this guy got the head coaching job for. He's a phenomenal play caller. This offense is zinging right now. Why ruin a good thing? Alex Van Pelt's doing a good job helping with the game planning, and I feel like they do a great job scripting out the opening plays. But by no means do you take the play calling away from Kevin Stefanski anytime soon.
No, not at all. I think he's proven time after time that he's a very good play caller. So, uh, having the ability, what he's able to do, get these guys open. He schemes the receivers very well to where they're open. It's just a matter of the quarterback hitting him, hitting the receivers. Some of the different things he does with play action or quarterback sneaks, some of the different alignments, informations. He's very good at what he does. So I'm with you. Let's completely end that discussion. I'm all for that.
Absolutely. Is there anything else from the game you want to discuss before we wrap things up?
Yeah, I got one stat for you
All right.
that I just saw pop on Twitter from Next Gen Stats. Nick Chubb gained 115 of his 113 rushing yards. He did have a couple negative runs in there. That's why the one number's higher. After contact in week 3, it's the second game of 100 plus yards after contact this season. He has 2 this year, and the rest of the NFL combined has 2 this year. So that just shows you how good he is.
That is phenomenal. That's amazing. Nick Chubb is one special football player, and I'm glad he's rocking a Cleveland Browns jersey every week. We do a poll on our Twitter account at the DawgLand after every victory where we crown the mayor of DawgLand. We gave you 4 options, and they were all offensive options this week. The poll is still up as of early Friday morning because we were recording this around midnight right now after the game. It's Jacoby Brissett, Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper, David Njoku. Anthony, who is your pick for the mayor of DawgLand for week 2?
For me, it was Jacoby Brissett. He just has continued to impress me these first 3 weeks of the season. Some of the throws that he made today were really incredible. Both those touchdown passes, even that last one to Cooper that was dropped. He's a leader. He shows a lot of passion out there. He doesn't seem to have much of an ego at all. I think he's a good leader for this football team. After you can see his passion after that one first down via quarterback sneak that he had, and he's just been really solid under center. And I'm glad that he's out there for us.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's definitely my vote as well for the mayor of DawgLand. He's been great the first 3 weeks, and it seems like he's getting better and better each passing week because he's trying to prove to a lot of people that he can be a starting quarterback in this league. And I think he keeps this up. I know some pundits saying this is as good as it's going to get. Well, if this is as good as it's going to get, then it bodes well for the Cleveland Browns going forward the next couple of months with him under center as the quarterback. The results right now, as of early Friday morning, and this poll will be up all day Friday. So if you guys go on our Twitter account, you can put a vote in. Jacoby Brissett and Nick Chubb are neck and neck right now. Nick Chubb has 44% of the vote. Jacoby Brissett has 43%. David Njoku has 9%, and Amari Cooper has 4%. This was tough. I think this could be tough for a lot of people to make one pick, but it just seems like right now it's either Brissett or Chubb for the majority of Browns fans.
Yeah, it's very tough, and you can't argue against both of those guys. And I thought you had in our group message another great candidate. I know we typically put players up there, but you want to talk about why you mentioned one person specifically for to be the mayor this week.
Oh, that wasn't me. That was our colleagues Alex Hale and Zach Strebler, they both vouch for Stefanski. And typically we do go players, but Kevin Stefanski, I mean, he could be the honorary mayor of DawgLand because he called a great game tonight. Um, Always composed. You know, he did get a little heated at the end of the game, but much like he did last week, if you've seen the mic'd up when they focused in on the Browns and the Jets, he got heated. For people to say he doesn't show emotion, he sure did. But yeah, Stefanski, he I mean, if we could have had a fifth option, I think if I would have thrown Stefanski up there, he probably would have garnered some votes. But yeah, he could be our honorary co-mayor of DawgLand because he called a great damn game tonight.
And you mentioned in the chat his record after losses. I forget if you mentioned it earlier in the pod, but he's 12-3 after a loss, which is very impressive.
I'm glad you mentioned it because I almost forgot. But yeah, I had seen the stat earlier today. I think it was Hard Rock Sportsbook posted it. Only the Packers and the Chiefs are better or something like that. But yeah, since Stefanski's come in, he's now 12-3 after a loss. So for people saying questioning him as a head coach, I think he continues to show like after a tough loss, he finds a way to bounce back and win. So it's damn good, and hopefully he keeps this up because he's definitely the best coach we've had in a long damn time in Browns history. So you know, he has definitely been a big part of the revival of the Browns, and hopefully things continue the rest of the season and beyond.
Yeah, hopefully. I think he'll be around a long time as long as he keeps winning.
Yeah, for sure, man. This is great, man. I love doing victory pods. After a couple years where we're not getting to celebrate victories, it's a bummer now when we don't win, just because we're getting used to winning now after losing for so long.
You know, there's only one victory pod I'm looking forward to. We all know what that is, so hopefully someday we can get there. But yeah, these are nice to have as well.
Yeah, for sure. We're definitely looking forward to the next one. Hopefully it's next Sunday against Atlanta, but we will be back next week to get you guys ready for Browns versus Falcons. Browns have another good opportunity to get a victory. Atlanta's a tough team, so it should be a good matchup. I think it's the first time the Browns get to play in that new dome stadium down there in Atlanta, so definitely looking forward to that as well. You guys can follow Anthony on Twitter at Anthony Jokey. You can follow me on Twitter at Jack McCurry08 and follow the DawgLand at the DawgLand on both Twitter as well as Facebook. Like, share, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you guys listen. We appreciate you all so much for listening. And until next time, Browns fans, as we get on out of here, it's Victory Friday. Go Browns!